Starting with version 3.2, Intercax introduced a powerful new feature for Syndeia, User Customizable Mappings. Anytime we carry out a model transform between two different repositories or modeling tools with different artifact and relationship types, we require a mapping, a set of rules that determines what a concept in one domain becomes when it is pulled into the second, and how and whether concept attributes and substructure are carried across. Before Syndeia 3.2, these choices were hard-coded with few user options and could only be changed by Intercax. Custom mappings now allow Syndeia users to develop and deploy their own mappings without our involvement. This feature is being introduced gradually, with each new Syndeia version broadening it to more tools, with the ultimate goal being user-customized mappings for any combination of tools Syndeia supports. Each new version has its own new tutorials, demonstrating the specific steps for the supported mapping combinations. However, there are a few common features that must be clearly understood if custom mappings are to be successful, and these are emphasized in this video. The first is the requirement that the customer engineer has a special license from Intercax to create custom mappings, beyond the standard Syndeia license. Because creating mappings requires good understanding of the type concepts on both sides of the transform, and advanced Syndeia training provided by this and other tutorials and videos, the customer organization may not want to extend that responsibility to every Syndeia user. Special mapping licenses are provided at no additional cost to any Syndeia customer, who decides which users within their organization should be able to create custom mappings. This license must be copied on the user's local machine within the user's .syndeia folder. Note that this is a node-locked license, whether or not the users have node-locked or floating versions of the regular Syndeia license. The users with the special licenses can create mappings and distribute them to all users within the organization who do not require a special license to use them. The second key understanding is that creating and using custom mappings requires two key files, and these files must be created, tested, and deployed as a set. Mixing and matching unrelated files, or modifying one and not the other, can prevent the custom mappings from functioning properly. The first file is the Syndeia mappings file. It sits in the user's .syndeia folder and contains the information about the artifact types and mapping that the organization wants to make available to all its Syndeia users. The second file is a SysML profile that contains special SysML stereotypes that may be used in the mappings. It is added to the SysML model like any other profile and must be added to each new model where the custom mappings are desired. The connection can be shown in an example using DoorsNG to Rhapsody SysML mappings. In this example, we want to create a SysML requirement from a DoorsNG requirement. In addition, we want several non-standard attributes, status, priority, date created, and category, copied from the Doors requirement to SysML, non-standard in the sense that they are not attributes of the standard SysML requirement stereotype. In order to have a place to put these attributes on the SysML side, we use a stereotype from a special Syndeia mappings profile, called DoorsNG requirement here, which has tag values for all the additional attributes. When we create a new mapping using the Mapping tab on the Syndeia dashboard, we include this SysML stereotype as part of the mapping definition. Notice that the stereotype Doors requirement has a specific ID. Syndeia uses that ID rather than the stereotype name in defining the mapping. If the ID of the stereotype in the model does not match the ID stored in the mappings file, the mapping will not work. This happens easily if the user creates their own stereotype or their own profile rather than using the profile that comes with the mapping file. Even copying a stereotype or profile can change IDs. We avoid this problem by creating and deploying the mappings profile and mappings file together. For these tutorials, these can be downloaded from our online documentation on Confluence. Once they are copied to our local file system, load the profile into your Rhapsody project in the usual way. And copy the file Syndeia 333 tutorial rhp.mappings into your .syndeia folder and rename it syndeia.mappings. In this way, we have made sure that the matching mappings file and profile are installed for use. As a final step, make sure that the Use Mappings checkbox is checked in the Syndeia dashboard settings file. Click Apply after checking. Several of the repository interfaces have a specific set of tutorials which describe using and creating custom mappings. An important word of caution. Your repositories are probably not identical to ours, so the specific instructions in these tutorials may not apply in your environment. If you are new to mapping and you have not been provided with a Syndeia mappings file and corresponding SysML profile by your organization specifically for your repositories, we recommend starting with the last tutorial in each series, adding artifact types, then completing the second to last, creating mappings, before trying to use mappings. While the steps outlined in the tutorial are correct, following the tutorials blindly before you identify what artifact types are used in your modeling environment may end up badly. While creating custom mappings requires careful attention to learning the detailed process, it provides a powerful approach towards making Syndeia execute the model integrations exactly as required by your MBSE process.